The Old Erie Canal State Park out here in Fayetteville, New York. This is so great. It's so smooth and flat. Really great walking trail. Have the canal here that hasn't been used in years and years and years and years and years and years. Hello again, or hello for the first time. I'm severely backlit from Fayetteville, New York, as I just said. What's this thing in front of me? Why is this in the canal? Do you see this, guys? What is this? Why is this here? Why would they put it right in the middle of the water? You can't use the canal with these two pillars. They're massive. Why is this here? What was this for? Who used it? And why is this huge embankment here? What is going on? By the end of the video, you're going to find out. And we'll be back here with the answer later on. But we're going to see some fascinating stuff. In the meantime, let's go. Okay, headed back to the car right now. Really great walk. What a beautiful morning. Not a threatening cloud in the sky. And we have two places to check out really quick. One's a lumber yard, and the other is an old turntable, a relic from the past. Let's go. Now I'm in Fayetteville proper out here. This is Route 5 coming through. Got a Circle K across the street. Used to be the Nice and Easy. Some postal vehicles. Get some gasoline today. And if we look over this way, so a little straightaway here with some buildings that are orientated towards that road. I'm gonna zoom in here a little. Yeah, right down there, this truck's going down there. And at one point, there was a railroad that had its line go right through here. The Syracuse and Chenango Valley Railroad. And this is Tracy Lumber if you're looking for it on a map. They have been around for 115 years. Lumber delivered right to those buildings from the railroad, and that ran all the way across over that way. I'll have a map in the description box if you want to take a look at that. But yeah, I've got to say, this is not a commercial, but they haven't come out to tell me, hey, get off my property. At least not yet. But if you need lumber, big old truck goes by here. If you need lumber of any type, these guys, they know their wood. We brought in a nasty little piece of wood. We're like, I have no idea what this is. We need to replace it for an antique cabinet. And they sold us the exact right piece. Just amazing. But it's hard to imagine a train coming through here. It's a very, if you're familiar with Fayetteville, they like their cars. So it would be odd to see a train. If it still did meander through this way and go down there, be very interesting to see that indeed. But no longer here. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. Headed down towards Cazenovia to see a railroad turntable, or what's left of it. And then we'll give a little history on this rail line, what it was, when it operated. Let's go to Cazenovia really quick. So now we're in Cazenovia, New York, and right behind me, I'm not sure if you can see the lake over there. That's Cazenovia Lake right there. It's the southern tip. It's a nice little parking spot over there if you're cruising through town. This is, I think, is this Route 20? I think it's Route 20. Boy, I'm really great at this, right? Right behind me, behind my fat head, this is where that same rail line came down, past Tracy Lumber, a few other places. Went through Orin, which is a town if you're not familiar, and went just down that way, past the camera. I'll show you that. And you can kind of see a little dip in the trees over there. Definitely see this one massive tree on the right hand side of the screen, but look at and further down that way, I believe it was called, I'm not a great historian, guys, but I believe it was called the Canastota Cazenovia line, and that was part of later on Lehigh Valley Railroad, and they crossed about 2 miles down, I think it's got to be. So there's the two tracks met, and there is a old Lehigh Valley Railroad station in Cazenovia, which we're not going to see today, but we're going to see this building, which is not much of anything, I don't think. If anyone knows what this building was, let me know. But I'll show you what it used to be in this spot. I definitely won't forget to mention that there was a record-setting tunnel a little north of here, not too far. The train line, the Syracuse and Chenango Valley Railroad, would kind of skirt the lake here, but then it would cut in and go under what's Route 92 now, under this big, just kind of what could amount to a large hill. And they dug what was then, when it was finished, was the longest railroad tunnel in about this spot on this really windy day. Railroad station. It's the depot that was down here. This actual photograph. We have done a video on this before, but I didn't know that this photograph existed. I did know about this, an old postcard, kind of a different angle, but you can see the platform. This station burnt down, and I don't think it was replaced with anything such as a grand building as this. But when you arrived into town, you know, your friends could pick you up in their Model T or whatever. It's a locomotive back there. And what's cool about this other photo, it's a slightly different angle. It kind of lines up with our viewpoint right here. And this is a park, actually. It's a trail, the Fairchild Hill Trail. So it's open dawn to dusk if you want to take a ride on your bike, jog, or a hike. Kind of take a look at this map over here. As I tell you about the line, is the Syracuse and Chenango Valley Railroad ran between Earlville and Syracuse. It was constructed in 1868, and it eventually became known as the Syracuse and Chenango Railroad in 1873. And then the Syracuse, Chenango, and New York Railroad in 1877 ultimately emerged into the Syracuse, Ontario, and New York Railway, and by 1891, part of the New York Central. We're going to kind of go down this way a little bit because this was a rail yard at one point. The backside of the railroad station had the branches coming off. You can kind of see representation in this photograph right here. A couple rail cars lined up next to each other. Yeah, this all happened right here. And on the end of one of the lines was a turntable. So it's just fascinating to walk in this space that used to be a rail line that people used for transit all the way down to Earlville. Trying to look up what Earlville was known for. Like every community had like a an industry, but I can't figure out why Earlville connected. They connected it all the way there. Why was that? If you know, leave a comment down below. And have like a lot of information here Oh, not on this side though. Pretty easy to find. Have a little sign out here, right in the middle of the wilderness, it looks like. Railroad history. Oh, we've seen that photo. A railroad that was built in 1870 along the west shoreline of Cass Lake, connected Syracuse to Earlville. The first section of the Fairchild Hill Trail follows the old railroad right away. There's a little sign over here. Kind of amazing to imagine people would come to work right in this spot. They'd be working on the railroad. Embankment. It's a little overgrown right now. Last time we were here was in the fall, and you can really see there's a detail here that you can't see. It's all overgrown. I'll try to get out to that though. But here's the center. This is where the turntable would have rotated on. You know, obviously these trees wouldn't have been here. I think over here there's a photo, some remnants, and a picture of the turntable. It's right there. It says, "You are standing within the stone wall of the Syracuse and Chenango Valley Railroad turntable at the Cazenovia station. After a run from Syracuse to Cass, the turntable was used to turn the engine and coal car around to prepare for the return trip. Turntable track was manually rotated 180 degrees, and the engine was backed into the main line, now facing back towards Syracuse." So you can kind of see aerial perspective here of the photo that we looked at. It's a little glare. You can kind of make out a turntable right down there. Station with a platform, and then there's the line going all the way there. Some remnants down here. In 1944, the last railroad engine used this turntable. 58 years later, Scout Troop 18 uncovered the turntable area, which was overgrown with brush. The back side of the sign. Some more photos. Look at that locomotive. So this route was abandoned in different stages. The first stage, between Earlville to Cazenovia, was abandoned in 1935. Later on, the second stage was abandoned up to Orrin in 1943, cut back to Manlius in 1948, and the remainder of the line between Syracuse and Manlius was given up on in 1960. You can actually still see some rail from that, I think. But in a future video, we're going to have to tackle some of the other stations and some of the other structures. Maybe we'll go down to Earlville too. See the terminus of this. An odd thing to have just randomly here. So many years later. So they would turn a locomotive and tender on this platform here. Definitely interesting. I'm gonna risk ticks and God knows what else by going through this shrubbery here, just to give you a perspective. The stone used to build this turntable. And it's filled with sediment and stuff, but it's about 2 or 3 feet tall. Stand kind of over here. See the distance? And so way over there, that's where the other side of this turntable is. Really fascinating. Gonna have to come back later in the fall so you can actually see stuff. I think at this point we should probably head back to the old Erie Canal where this rail line traversed the canal. Full-size locomotives steaming through. If you did like this, if you're still watching, hi. Consider subscribing, click like, and if you're subscribed already, thank you so much. We love seeing historical things like this. This is fascinating. This is what gets me off the couch, guys. This is what does it. Hopefully it inspires you to explore wherever you're from. Okay, let's go. I need the camera. I keep doing that. Very crazy. It's just amazing. So that's a little history for you. That's why this is here. Syracuse and Chenango Valley Railroad, later part of the New York Central, used this. Built in the 1800s. Tough to imagine a train rolling through here, isn't it? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.